Alright, welcome to part 5. This is all going to be about ground textures and editing your stat map and mask map. The first thing I'm going to do really is add an airport. So we're first going to need a texture. I'm going to update my template tonight with this texture, but I made a new texture called AL_runway. I took it from the lakeside map, so I'm going to open up my project in game. Let's flatten out a place for the runway. Just find a place in general. Okay, so you might notice the stat map is different since I last did this tutorial. The reason it's different is I noticed in game, if you have the 3D stat map where it generates all the shadows and everything, that's with the light map. You'll notice all the shadows in game, and the rocks will be, black at some points, and some will be white. It's like really, it looks kind of weird in game. So what I did was I went into my L3DT. I deleted my light map, my shadow maps, all my just stuff related to do the light map, and I regenerated my texture map. I also, you could probably tell, but I have my own custom rock textures and my own custom grass textures that I took from an Arma 2 map. That's optional, you don't need it, but I just did that for myself. So, let's find a place to flatten out the terrain for an airport if it would unfreeze. So, just gonna toggle these, find a flat place. This place here seems to be very flat. I like that place over there. So I think I'll do it at the top kind of bit of the map. So we're going to need to go into Photoshop and get our mask and sat map in there. First thing I'll do is put my sat map in there. So, right, this is the 3D one. I'm probably not going to be using that. I'll show you what I mean, because in game, some rocks are really light, some are really dark, and it just looks really weird in game. So for the one, you can use that for when you press M. You can set that up in a config. You can use it for when you press M and it will look like that on the actual map. But for the actual layers to generate and everything, and the long distance texture, I would use the one without the 3D-ness, without the light map. So we don't need this one. I'm going to get my one which is on the desktop. I should probably move that to my source folder. So this is my generated one. It looks kind of nice in game. The grass looks nice and dark. I'll unlock this and delete it. And we also need to put in our mask map. Right. So we need to get an airport down. First thing I'm gonna do is you can make it however you want in Photoshop, but I'm just gonna take it off, say, my lakeside map that I did. So I'm just gonna put the sat map in here. I'm gonna zoom in, say, Los Diablos over here, and we'll take this airport. So I'll get the polygon tool and I'll trace around this. Right, so now I don't need this sat map over here, and I can just drag the airport wherever I want. So let's not go in a wrong layer. I might have I've just moved my mask by accident. There we go. So we'll be on the correct layer, select it. I'm still on the mask layer. Right, so if I remember, the flat part would be where the nice green grass is, so it's not steep. So there's the nice flat part. And that's pretty much it for the sat image. The only thing we have to do now is put that onto our mask image also. I'm going to merge these two together, just so we don't lose that. Yeah, so if I bring this up to the top, I'll just move that down. We need to somehow get this selected again. So actually, I'll unmerge that, just so I can select it. Control, then left click, so now I've got the airport selected. If I go to this now, I can put any color and define that in the layers.cfg. So let me find a color, a nice color that could be different. Alright, I found a color that I used for my other map. It was 127, 161, and then 253. That's what I've been using for my other map. So I'll just get that color and put that onto my mask map with the paintbrush. Not the paintbrush, sorry, the paint bucket tool. So that's that on the mask. Now that they're both done, really, I can just use that to put into Terrain Builder and it should all work nicely. So I'll just export that as a BMP. This is the sat map, so save as, I'll save it to my source because I didn't do that last time. BMP. I don't want to overwrite my 3D one because I'm going to define that in the config as the one when you press M. So sat map new. Save. 24-bit, okay. So that's our sat map. If I cancel both these layers out, and then now we have our mask. File, save as, then BMP. This can be the mask. 24-bit, okay. And there we go. That's pretty much it. Just need to remember that color and define that in the layers.cfg. Alright. So if I open up my source files quickly for this tutorial, layers.cfg. Now we're in the layers, we're going to make a new class for the runway texture. Oh, and if you didn't know about adding textures here, I told you in the early stages of the tutorial, probably part 1. Just if you add a new texture, just make sure if you go in the RV mat, it correctly put the correct paths there to the current source files, so Bulldozer can read it and the game can read it. Don't put P in front of it, because when Arma reads it, it will read it straight from the PBO, not your P drive. So now we're in here. I'll just copy a class, say class concrete, and we'll call it class AL underscore runway, and the textures will be, the path will be the runway, so AL underscore runway underscore CO, AL underscore runway, and then CO is already there. Then we have the RV map, so AL underscore runway. That's that done. Let's copy another class over here. Either one. And we'll rename that to AL underscore runway. And we need to put the color that we defined in Photoshop, which was 127, then 161 and 253. Yep, yeah, that's it. 253. So now that that's done, we can go into Terrain Builder, import these, and it should work. So I'll right click on the sat map, remove it from the terrain. Yep. Same with the mask, remove from terrain. Yes. File, import, satellite images. So to my P drive, tutorial island, data, source, sorry. And I'm going to import my new sat map. To generate that, all you got to do is you can right click and hit close layer on L3DT, and yeah, just delete all your light map layers and regenerate the not terrain, the texture map, so you get the non 3D one. Okay, so that's that done, and it's got the coordinates done, and the airfield is there, and it's in a nice high resolution. You can really get the airfield from any image. You can make it yourself in Photoshop. You can literally just make a plain grey, boring thing. You can get it off a real satellite image. It's really up to how good your Photoshop skills are or what resources you have. So now that that's done, I can import my mask image. So import surface mask and import that. And there the mask should be. Now that we've finished with that, all we need to do is regenerate the layers, so we'll go here. Processing. Select all three of these. Convert into PAAs, make sure you've got your layers.cfg selected and that you've saved it with the new color and class snip. And then you just hit generate layers, and I'll be back if you want that's done. Okay, so the layers have generated now. I'm just going to test this in Bulldozer, see how that is now. Okay, so this is it in game. Obviously it's bumpy, but that's easily fixable. And then this will be different in game, by the way. It won't be as dark compared to the actual satellite image, but obviously our initial thoughts would be to flatten this out, which I will. So I'll take out this tool. You can watch my object building part or the Bulldozer controls to see how I do this, but so it has room to do that. And it stopped working. Yeah, this happens from time to time, so I'll just close that and restart that again. Yeah, I think that's it for this part. That's changed texture on the ground. Obviously, I don't know, if I press a script for the roads, it might make it... Yeah, that's much better. It's still a little bit darker than I would have hoped for, but, you know, you can change that in Photoshop. You can change the lightness of the runway or the lightness of the texture, and that's about it. Yeah, I'll see you in the next part.